Shut up and sit down.
This is Sparta!
I give this right to breathe. No fuck where I'm going. Cut cord, no cell phone to hold me. Patches on my shirt, dirty black jeans, duct tape shoes, breakneck speed. Patches in my backpack just in case. Padlock fat, chain to my waist. Snaked in bike tube, safe from the rust. Steady like a gunslinger, belt in the.
You are listening to another sweet episode of the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand,
Sir Ian Gibson,
Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Make sure you have nothing better to do for a while because this is a long one. These guys just won't be quiet. I'm telling you. Tip of the day. A smile will gain you 10 more years of life. It's science. Look it up.
Face to the blue, pedals in the breeze. Any piece of sky, any scrap of green. Horses in the sun now, smile in our eyes. Live for the day, race to the light.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Turing. I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler, welcome to the show.
What's up, your frigginess?
Welcome to the show.
How are you?
Swell.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's right. Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You guys look punctual.
Matt was a full half hour late today.
That's not too bad.
He just got stuck in his own little world and tuned everything out.
What's funny is like, I got back and I'm like starting to get into work and I'm like, wait, I don't have anything where I'm supposed to be. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like
Just
literally,
forget.
just like,
We talked about this yesterday, Matt. Yesterday that we were going to record.
yeah, that's all it takes.
You got too much on your plate, dude.
I have way too much on my plate right now. I'm coaching every morning at like 5 in the morning.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Why don't you just make that your back pedal?
Yeah.
Mark, set, go.
Okay. So yeah.
Wait,
so
wait.
I've been.
We are missing Sir Ian Gibson.
We are.
Again.
He's pregnant.
So
Yeah.
he tested positive for sexiness.
In COVID.
In COVID. So
Oh,
he's
that
not
wasn't a
here.
pregnancy test you sent us a
It
picture of?
wasn't.
Oh, okay.
He sent
Now
the-
it makes a lot more sense.
He sent the stick.
He sent the picture of the
He
stick.
sent the picture of the stick, and I said, "Congratulations, you're pregnant."
I thought he was in menopause, but I don't know.
Okay, sorry, Matt.
My back pedal, no COVID. Yeah, waking up every morning to coach swimming has been fun. Early morning.
Are you getting into pot water too?
No, well, actually, I'm probably going to get in the water on Monday because I'm working with like a special needs kid, and it's a lot of like trying to. The coordination and stuff is very tricky, and so
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'll get in the water on Monday and help a little bit. But most of the time, I'm trying on the deck. I've been trying to do all kinds of stuff. Like we did. We're like getting our face in the water, so I've been kind of getting wet every day, even though I'm not trying to. But it's been fun. Have gotten on Zwift a couple of times. I think three times in the past week or so. That's
I saw
an
him
all-time record
on Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, Tuesday, yeah,
rode
we did
with us
group
for a little
ride.
bit, yeah.
I've been trying to do those because
Yeah.
I think they're good. Except for the group went out fast this particular day.
Yeah.
And it was hilly enough where I was like, I'm getting dropped early today, but I think I made it half an hour or something like that. And the Tuesday before, I made it 45 minutes or something like that. I was like, okay.
I
not
noticed
bad.
I noticed that like all of a sudden you were gone, and I'm like,
Yeah, you're like,
oh, then
whatever.
your whole thing just disappeared. I'm like, oh, he gone.
He gone. Sometimes I'm like, get on the, because we have a Discord when we talk about like, we do our group rides, and people are welcome to join us. But we get on this Discord, and, usually we'll chat or whatever, and usually I'll chime in and I'll just be like, all right, see you guys later or whatever. But I was like, yeah, it's fine. Because you guys, you hit a big hill, and I was like,
Gone.
you guys were already going fast enough that it was painful. So I'm just not the athlete that I used to be.
The prescription is 3 to 4 watts per kilogram for the climbs, and I think I looked down and saw people doing like 4.5 to 5. I'm like, come on, guys.
I saw you at 5 at one point, but you were probably just trying to catch someone.
I was just trying to get back on the
Because you
group.
were, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, that's too rich for my blood. And then I folded my hand.
Done.
And then, let's see, I ran 7 miles on Sunday, which was awesome because I ran like out with one group of people, like a guy that, some guys that do kind of their own club coaching program or whatever. And physical therapists, they were running together, and I ran with them on the way out for Heritage Trail. On the way back, ran with my wife back. Nice. It was awesome. She was just out doing her run. And
Oh, nice.
so it's like a little date run. And the trails have been sloppy. I ran the trails this morning, and they were just like, there's no getting around the puddles. You're just like slopping through it.
Bomb cyclone, baby.
Bomb cyclone.
Yeah.
Which also makes for not great riding weather.
Although I have ridden outside.
That's what my next question.
A couple of times.
Yes, backpedal for us.
I I've ridden almost every day
Did you
still.
did you go in the bombs when it was like super windy and crazy sideways wind and rain and hail? Did you see any hail?
I did see hail, but I didn't
that-
ride in it.
Groffle, I think is what it's actually called.
Oh.
What we had.
It was like sleet-ish.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
icy.
snowish.
I think it's called Groffle. I'll double check here in just a second. But it's a cross between snow and hail. So it has the texture of snow, but it looks like a small, like almost like a small corn kernel of hail. But if
Yeah.
you pick it up, it feels more like snow. It's not as hard. So.
Eskimos have 17 different words for snow. Are
Do they
you
really?
are you part Eskimo?
No, I was just
Are you sure?
watching
Are
the
you from
news.
California or
No.
the Great White North?
No, Brian Miskinis. He told me all about that. If you're
All right.
from
See,
Pacific
nice.
Northwest, you might know who he is. So anyway.
On Saturday, I did go ride gravel for like 3 hours with a couple teammates with Hatfield and Hannell.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, we met up out in North Plains and rode like a 3-hour route. We didn't get rained on too bad. It was cold, but not terribly cold. That was a great ride. We did some big long climbs and did some big long descents, and we rode some gravel, and it was just a good time. Thank you guys we invited a bunch of people to go, but it was like late notice. It was just the three of us. Yeah.
Didn't invite me.
We did not. No, yes, we did.
Nope.
We didn't?
Nope.
Yes, we did.
Sorry, I always said no anyway, but
Yeah,
nope.
that's why we didn't invite you, suckwad. So, and then that night, we all went to the high school play that Hannell's daughter was performing in.
No way.
Yes.
Wait, was it at Camas High School? No, because
No.
there's a high school play. I mean, there's high school plays at every high school,
Yes.
I assume. But like, there's one going on there too. So
This was Central Catholic High School in Portland. That's where his youngest daughter goes. And we went to that play, the Hatfields and the Hannells and the Heplers.
that's cool.
Yeah, we went to dinner first, and then we went to the play, and we watched the play. It was a good time.
How was the play?
It was good. It was great.
You have to say that because you're on air.
No, it was actually was
good.
fun. It's a high school play.
They're
you
all
know,
good. They're all fun.
So when you know somebody, it's good. So that made it fun. So that was cool. Other than that,
Is this his daughter that cycles all the time?
it's not.
Okay.
Kylie is off at college.
Okay, gotcha.
She is 18, or she's 18 now, and so she's off in college. She's going to school at the Oregon State University Bend campus. So she's in Bend, Oregon.
She's part of the reason why you got dropped on Tuesday night.
I know. I was gonna say she was riding with us, right?
Yeah.
She's strong,
She's strong, and she was like, "I'm not putting up with this Matt character."
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough.
She's her father's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have another younger daughter who is still in high school.
Okay.
So
Got it.
that's what we were doing. It was watching. The rest of the week, I did ride on Zwift a few times. I've been doing some workouts. I've rode outside a couple of times. I did not manage to catch the super windy days because,
That was
man, if it's raining outside and it's under 45 degrees, I'm just going to ride on Zwift.
And it was like sideways. I mean, it was really windy too. Yeah. It was a good day for Zwift.
But when it hasn't been raining, I have been riding outside and taking some KOMs because screw you, everybody.
That's what you do.
Right on.
That's it. Jake.
Presenting your Royal Highness, Sir Ian Gibson.
Hey, Ian Gibson. Hi.
Just a tribute. This is just a tribute.
Do we need to backpedal for him at all? Is there anything that he's got going on?
Let's see.
COVID.
Ian.
Pregnant.
Yeah. he's. What did he do this last? I have no idea what he
Nothing.
did.
He just got back from the UK and has been sick and missed the podcast last
Yeah.
week.
That's
Found out he's got
correct.
COVID. And
And he did not ride while he was there. He was there visiting his mother. It's kind of his off season. He's trying to get gearing up for cranking back in.
Yeah. All good.
We miss you, Ian.
Yep.
You're out.
Get better soon. Hey, real quick, Graupel, Graupel, is basically precipitation that forms when supercooled water droplets and is collected and freeze on basically falling snowflakes. So it's like snowflakes that have like this extra bit of stuff that kind of attaches to them, but that's what it's called. It's, I think they also call it like hominy or something like that. I don't know. Sorry.
I got your grapple and hominy right here.
My back pedal, nothing to report. Just rode on Zwift a handful of times. And
How's it going? Do you feel strong, decently strong, or?
I'm all right. I'm not doing anything kind of crazy. I mean, the group ride's probably about as spicy as I get. And this week, I wasn't feeling well. I'm like, oh crap, am I getting sick? But I thought that in the morning. I thought for sure I wasn't going to even get on the trainer. I'm like, you know what? I feel okay. I might as well just get on there and give the old 20-minute test and see if I feel good. And then I actually rounded out and felt pretty good. So
Did
finished
you
right.
ride? Did you do group rides Tuesday and Thursday?
I did not do Thursday. That was last night. I was at my daughter's volleyball game. So
Okay.
yeah,
She's playing volleyball.
she is. Yeah, she's
Wow.
playing for the middle school. So
Nice.
she won't play beyond this, even though she likes it a lot, and she's actually pretty good at it.
volleyball's
But volleyball's at the same time as soccer in high school, and you have to pick and choose.
Right.
They will not let you play both. So
No.
yep. Other than that, nothing special to report. Just do my thing. Good times.
Hooray.
Good times.
Hey,
Champ Bailey in sports.
is Champ here?
Champ is here.
Champ friggin' Bailey. What's up, Champ?
Hey, hello, guys. It is Champ Bailey. In the world of cycling, nothing happened. Champ out.
And out.
There really isn't anything happening. What happened? There is some all the cyclocross racing is going full gas in Belgium and in Canada and on the East Coast, and that's all happening. But nothing. There's really no big results to speak of. So there's really nothing to talk about, unless you have questions. Do you have questions, Jake?
Any transfer news? Anybody signed any new teams?
No, nothing new that what we knew beforehand.
We already talked about Pogacar getting his big contract.
Pogacar got his big contract.
I've actually seen a few articles saying that he's underpaid. Do you guys
Yeah.
agree with that?
Seriously?
Yeah.
At like €8.5 million a year?
Yeah. And
Because of what he brings to the table?
correct. The eyeballs that he's putting on the sport and just the viewership that they're getting out of it, and just the fact that he's a superhuman on the bike. Hopefully
He's-
clean, but yeah.
Hopefully clean, but he is freaking superhuman. That is true.
I mean, if you think about like a Shohei Ohtani, $70 million a year.
Yeah.
That's absurd for a baseball player to get paid that much. But then you start to think about all right, what does he bring to the team and what is his worldwide?
Did I
appeal?
watch a baseball game this year because of Ohtani?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
You did.
And people things cost what they cost for a reason, right? Like they're paying that money because, of course, his deal was actually very special if you look at it because he did a lot of
It's
the
all
delayed-
back
but
end
anyway.
stuff. So California kind of gets the short end of that straw.
Right.
But, yeah.
But still, even though like the price tags for these athletes are because they are worth it.
Yeah.
Like they're not
Yeah.
going to pay someone if he wasn't worth it. They wouldn't pay it.
Yeah.
Right.
So just him alone,
just simple as that.
his appeal in the Asian markets, I believe the Japanese media conglomerates are buying up a ton of like advertising with
Then it's
the
worth
Dodgers. And I think it was, I'd have to go back and double check this, but the number that's in my head is something like $200 million just in that alone.
Oh my gosh.
And then the other thing that happens is as they travel to all the different ballparks, they're buying up all of the advertising space at those different ballparks so that, they can basically be able to channel into that. And a lot of those ballparks are leveraging like, yeah, we'll let you do that, but you have to buy this much more. So there's a lot of people jumping on that bandwagon. The amount of money that he is generating is astronomical. But at the same time, it's kind of worth it for him because they're making that much more money.
That's right.
And they've got a superhuman playing baseball that, this coming season will be playing both ways again. Crazy. So does Tadej Pogacar deserve to get paid more than his €8 million a year?
Or it's supposed to be 50 million over 6 years.
Yep.
It's a huge deal.
And
Is
that's,
he worth it?
That's
Yeah.
just his contract with them. Did they have other
sponsorship
separate
deals?
sponsorship
Oh,
deals?
100%. Yeah.
They have to. There's certain ones that are part of the team that you
Correct.
can't do, but then they can have separate
Just
personal
think, well,
sponsorship
Red Bull's
deals.
the perfect example. The Red
Yeah.
Bull doesn't sponsor Jumbo Visma or Lisa Bike, whatever they're called,
Yeah.
but he's getting money from Red Bull.
Yes.
So I'm sure Tade, being the number one guy on the
Yeah,
planet,
why wouldn't he?
yeah, I don't know. I think that you can definitely make a case that he's worth more than that. But if that's all he's going to get and he's happy with that, then UAE's happy as a clam because they've got the best rider in the world and they're probably making a ton more money just because he's on the team. Not that they need it, but maybe.
I think the thing that's interesting to me is you have a guy who could easily crash and be
Done.
out. Crash isn't cycling. Gosh, it's
2 years ago, he crashes, breaks his wrist, and he was pretty human that year.
he was pretty human that year. He was,
Yeah.
But even without that, let's be honest. Like Jonas Vingegaard, healthy, there's a great chance that Pogacar's not going to win the Tour de France.
Possibly. Yeah.
I mean,
if
he
Jonas
wants-
is healthy
and
and he has a decent team around him again, which he could.
he's arguably the better athlete of the two in some ways.
Another thing to think
It's hard to
about
say.
here.
It's
Wow.
It's hard to argue that, but I might backpedal that a little bit. But I will say that like he's beat Pogacar twice.
He has.
Yeah. And once when they were both healthy and
well, here's
to
another
go.
thing too. That's still when Pogacar was still having his coming out party. We knew he was good. We just didn't know how good he was. So he's still having his coming out party, and we know who he is now. And this is kind of what I was going to say, is like when you've got a Pogacar on your team, you've got people that want to ride with him. Now you've got to have the right people because they have to know that they're not going to be the man. But are you willing to go be the lieutenant and get paid that much more money? Probably.
I heard a story. I heard a story this morning that every rider that was on the Tour de France team were paid over €1 million a year.
Just to come there and support him.
Yeah.
So if you think about it,
so if you're the scrub, you know, racer number 8, and your job is just to pull in the flats, you still got paid €1 million a year. Yeah, worth it.
Totally worth it. So if you think about it too, like just having him on your team and having a couple other superstars surrounded by him is going to make you that much more better, that much more marketable. So they're able to go out and get more sponsorship dollars to bring in more people to be even better people. And like you've got who was it that was supporting him? Yates. So
Adam Yates.
He's a GC kind of guy, but he's come on to support him, and they're able to pay him to do that. And he's like, I'll gladly do that because you're paying me extremely handsome.
Correct.
How many more people can you do because you brought that much more money? You're effectively having yourself build up a super team here. You've got deeper pockets to make yourself that much more prominent and that much more staying power. So, I mean,
but this is also professional cycling, and egos are real, and all of these guys want to crack at being the dude.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that's going to check a big ego is a big paycheck. You got to know that. And even if it's just for a couple of years to go in and ride, and knowing that you might have a chance in a stage race or a race or something like that he's not going to be at, that to be the man.
Yeah.
You're going to go get your money. So they can build this super team around him because of his allure.
Actually, there was a story that came out recently too, where Pogacar was asked, would you want to win all 3 Grand Tours in a year?
Yep.
And the main reason he didn't want to do it is his answer was, I have teammates that I want to keep happy.
Another reason why you want that guy on your team.
Yes.
Would Lance Armstrong say that?
No.
Nope.
He just said, he goes, I don't want to win all 3. I want to give my teammates a chance to possibly win a Grand Tour. So I need their help in the others. I need to give that up for another race, which was cool to hear.
Yeah. Anyway, they can build this incredible team because there's no salary cap for cycling teams. And if you've got, teams that are running on a budget of like $8 to $10 million a year, and then all of a sudden you get this other team that's able to, run on $20 million a year because they've got all these superstars that draw in even more money. I don't know. Is that good for the sport? Is that good? Is that?
I mean, this is not new, right? This has been the case for other teams in the past, and it's very interesting.
And Ineos,
Sky is definitely like the classic example. But even more recent than that, there's been teams that have just been extremely dominant, but they somehow get broken up because I think maybe it's the allure of having your own group. Roglic, right?
Leaving Visma and going to Red Bull.
Yeah. A perfect example of somebody that's got it in him. He doesn't have too many more years to go do it. He wants to be the man. He's not going to be the man on that team. So
what about Adam Yates? Like wants to be the man probably, and he's not going to be the man on that team. Exact same
maybe
phrasing.
He knows that he's at a certain part of his career where he wants to be the man, but he can't be the man because he doesn't have. But he can definitely go out there and he can be a huge asset to somebody. As a lieutenant.
I don't know.
Just food for thought.
Good question. Good question. Good hot seat question.
For sure. Anything else there, Champaroo?
Nope. Champ out.
Champ out. Cool. Hey, we kind of talked about this a little bit last week. We've got the new podcast platform that we're running, and we've got some new little bells and whistles that we can use with this little dog and pony show that we got running on here. One of those things is called fan mail. So it's kind of neat because it's actually embedded into all the different players. I don't know if you guys picked up on that or you saw that.
I did see it said, send us a text right on the Apple podcast thing.
So you've got that. We've got transcripts that we can build into the podcast now. There are chapter markers. So if you don't want to listen to us sit here and blabber on about all the backpedal stuff and you want to get straight to business, you can click in there and it'll give you a chapter marker. We can go right to what it is we're talking. Maybe you want to come back and listen to that later. You can click on that button, go back. It's just kind of neat. So it's just making the user experience a little bit better. Granted, it's a touch more work, but I don't mind doing it if it's going to make a better user experience. So, but the one thing is the fan mail. And without even really talking about it, it's already been used. So we have our first one coming through. Just a quick bit though on how the fan mail works. So when you see that in your player, whether it be through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you're listening to it, you can click on that. You can actually send us a text. We do not see your text, your phone number. We do see like the last 4 digits of your phone number, so we can kind of know if it's the same person sending us the same text, and it shows us where you're texting us from. So we can see that information.
Like what city or what state?
Yeah. So the one that we had come through was from Los Angeles, California, and we can't text them back. So it's a one-way street. So you can send us the information, and the only way that we can get back to you is to talk about it on the podcast. So guess what, guys? We've got a new segment called Fan Mail.
Fan mail.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to come up with a better name
where's
for
the
that.
bumper music for fan mail, Jake?
We need bumper music. We need a different name that has some sort of bicycle reference besides fan mail.
Fan mail.
Okay. Well, what's that going to be then?
I don't know. Let's see. We've got backpedaling. We need some bike
Lead out.
parts.
Hand up?
Hand up.
No.
Something
We need a
something
name
dirty
for the
and
fan
dirty
mail.
and grimy like chain mail.
Chain mail.
Chain mail? Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we come back to us. We can't just. Sometimes
We're
sometimes-
riffing here.
Sometimes we nail stuff right off the top of our heads. A lot of times we don't. Okay.
This time we did not.
This time we failed.
Okay, so
This has been Fan Mail.
the placeholder name at the moment is fan mail.
And that's only because that's what it's called. No, does it say fan mail or does it say send us a text? I don't know.
It says send us a text.
Text the jackals. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, so the first one that came through, and again, before we read this too, anybody wants to send us a message, just click on there, shoot us a message, and
Nice.
we can't get back to you, but we can talk to you back on the top podcast, and we'll try and get to as many as we possibly can. So take advantage of that. So from the listener in Los Angeles, California, pretty much had a question, and it was, you guys mentioned the gravel bike being the one bike if you had to choose. So if we had like just one bike that we could have, that would be it, right? So he is saying or asking that, but a cross bike would definitely not be that one. His question is, if you could have one bike, wanted to do some gravel racing, and also wanted to try a cross race or two, what would you look for in geometry, bottom bracket height, wheelbase, and what does the true quiver killer for the weekend warrior look like?
Whew, that is a loaded question.
Big question.
It's
yeah.
a big question.
So first and foremost, we kind of talked about the difference between a gravel bike and a cross bike. Do you want to go over that again real quick? Just give them the quick.
The biggest difference is the head tube angle on your front wheel, what your head tube angle is. On cyclocross bikes, it's a steeper head tube angle, which means
The fork's closer to the
your front wheel is closer to your bottom bracket, and that's usually between 72 and 73 degrees. On a gravel bike, it's usually between 70 and 71 degrees.
more slack. Yep.
So it's more slack. So your wheels are farther apart.
Correct.
Making them farther apart makes it more stable for speed, for going faster distance, but slower responding on tight corners.
Correct.
So a cross bike will turn quicker, but a gravel bike will go faster in longer, straighter sections. So
it's a lot more stable too.
yeah, a lot more stable. So it's kind of like driving a bus compared to driving a sports car. That's how I feel about it when I ride the two.
That's a good analogy.
Cyclocross is like driving a sports car. It's steep, sharp, quick corners, and it responds quickly. And a gravel bike's like driving a bus.
I'd say it's a little bit more like a big full-size truck.
Right.
Not
Okay,
quite a
maybe
bus.
not really a
bus. Bus would be more like a, I don't know, cargo bike or something like that. But anyway,
It's just funny when I've switched. Like I used to keep a gravel bike in the pit in cyclocross, and when I switched to it, I like the first corner I come to, I blow through the tape.
You're like,
I'm like, whoa, this isn't going.
here we go.
I'm not making this corner so fast. So that's the biggest difference. My thought on the thing, it would be you'd be more beneficial to own a gravel bike because it would check more boxes. You can still race a gravel bike in a cyclocross race.
we know a lot of people that do that.
Yes.
I mean, so many manufacturers stopped making cyclocross bikes
Yes.
strictly to start putting their efforts towards making gravel bikes because that's what the industry is demanding right now. And there's just not as much demand for cyclocross, even though it's still a great sport.
Yes. And if you have a gravel bike already and you're only doing 3 or 4 or 5 cyclocross races a year, man, I would just race the gravel bike or race your mountain bike if you have one. That's really not that big a deal either. However, if you're doing 20 or 25 races a year, it might be beneficial to have a cyclocross specific bike.
Correct.
But you can find one, cheaper on the used market, or if you buy yourself a brand new like race cyclocross bike, that's going to cost you $5,000 to $10,000.
Correct.
For another bike.
Yep.
So it just depends on how deep your pockets are and what kind of racing you want to do.
Yep. One other difference between the two is going to be your bottom bracket height. So the bottom bracket on the gravel bike is going to be lower to the ground. Not like dramatically lower, but it's going to be relatively lower because of the fact that you're trying to like stabilize everything. You're trying to create a stable environment for high speeds, for descending down long gravel roads and making it more comfortable. Whereas the gravel bike, again, it's going to be higher. Everything's going to be
cyclocross bike higher.
Cyclocross bike is going to be higher and everything's going to be tucked in a little bit. And it just helps you get over obstacles. It helps you probably shoulder the bike maybe a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway. Yeah.
Usually that higher bottom bracket height really comes into effect when you're
bunny hopping barriers.
Yeah. In our cyclocross races, we had a race series that would have short barriers at every race. Mm-hmm. So the big barriers, only 3 or 4 people could bunny hop those. The short barriers, which were like half the height of a regular barrier, like 70% of the people were bunny hopping
wow.
because it was just easier. You just had to hit them at the right speed. And you could tell people who were rolling through and weren't bunny hopping were just trying to ride over and were on gravel bikes because their chain ring was just slamming into the barrier. If they weren't actually bunny hopping, they were trying to front wheel, rear wheel it. Like slowly, your chain ring just drills it.
Ouch.
So, yeah, you could see that.
So if you could only have one, are you still going to stick with the gravel bike?
I'd still stick with the gravel bike.
How about you, Matt, for all of your cross racing? You can be
for
okay
all my
with your
cross racing.
I
do cross race a lot. Gravel for sure. Just because, I think that's a lot of what we do is we go ride these bikes for fun and enjoyment. We take them out, and cyclocross racing is awesome, but that's just a couple times that you're going to be able to do that. Yeah. I mean, you might have this wonderful opportunity to do cyclocross practice with a team, in which case you're going to get on that bike and you're going to use it, and then you're going to use it for races probably in the fall each year. Whereas gravel bikes, I feel like you could definitely do a practice and you could probably do races with that bike as well. But then year round, you can go out and find gravel stuff to work on. Yeah. So I think it's a better option for people.
Better investment. Just kind of comparing the two, going back to the primary thing being that head tube angle and being able to get through tight corners a lot faster. 100% agree with you, but it's not like you're going to be 5 seconds slower per corner. I mean, it's going to be a fraction of a second probably.
Yes.
But the problem is with the cyclocross races, there are a lot of corners and that adds up over the course of time. However, it depends on the course too, because there's probably sections in that cyclocross race that might benefit a gravel bike a little bit more, like maybe a long steep descent or something like that, or a long flat straightaway where you want to get after it a little bit more. That could be something that you can mitigate some of that. But for your classic traditional cyclocross race, you're still going to be losing a tiny bit of time. So do your reps, get strong, get faster, make up for it.
Agree.
Good 2 cents there.
I hope that answered your question.
Sweet.
I have a cyclocross race specific bike, but that's because I do 25 cyclocross races a year, and I paid $5,000 for that bike 5 years ago.
Correct.
But it's still relevant. It's still working. I don't need to replace it yet. It's still light and fast. The wheels are good, so I hold on to that.
Is Giant still making a dedicated cross bike?
That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah.
So
interesting. I know that some of the brands we work with, like Santa Cruz, they used to have the Stigmata, and that was their cyclocross bike, and that has morphed over the course of time into now a gravel bike. So the geometry is completely different. BMC used to make the Cross Machine. They completely discontinued that, and they only have their gravel bikes now. What other? I think the Cannondale, the Super 6, I think it was the cross bike. Now they still have something that's still cross adjacent or close to it, but it's got some gravel characteristics to it. And I think that's kind of how they kind of sell it, but you can still use it for both. It just feels like a lot of people are getting away from it. So when you go out to race, and a lot of people that are going to be newer to the sport, chances are they're probably going to be on a gravel bike, right?
Yep.
Yep. So that number is growing.
Giant does still sell the TCX Advanced Pro,
Okay, cool.
which is the bike I race. It's the same model from.
But did you notice that they also category the category when they lump these together? It's like road bike, mountain bike, and then it's gravel and cyclocross. They're
Yeah.
kind of lumped together.
Right.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
We're in an interesting time in the bike industry where it's hard to separate those two.
Yeah. Hey guys, hot take.
Hot take.
Strava's pissing off the world again.
Way to go. Way to go, Strava.
Strava. Yeah, there's been a whole lot of drama this last week with Strava. They have changed some things with their user agreement and their API.
What do you think? What do you think? Where are they headed?
They're on a highway. I'm not sure where.
Where's that highway headed?
Where's this highway going?
The highway to heaven.
Not what I heard.
I don't know.
That's not how that song goes.
There are a lot of pissed off people at Strava right now, and
No, a lot of pissed off people in the world because of Strava.
Right.
Not pissed off people at Strava.
Okay,
Do you think there's pissed off people at Strava?
maybe
They're
I don't know.
probably
I don't
pretty
think they
pissed.
care.
Actually, I think they're pissed. I think they're like, ooh, this blew up in our face.
I guess they could be because
Yeah,
it's been
they're-
all over.
They're pissed.
I mean, if you're in the algorithm like we are, there's like 5 different videos on my YouTube.
No joke. Within like an hour, I was getting all these pings from Reddit. I was getting these things popping up in my Google feed for like just news stories. YouTube sending me things that Raymaker just put out this big thing. And so it
we
was
should
just-
have had him on this podcast and been like, explain.
give him a call.
All right. I think I'm going to send him a message. Can we call you in?
Can we call you in?
Anyhow, they came out and they have effectively kind of disconnected themselves from just about everybody that's been utilizing their API. And it's like, all right, well, how can we still use this now? One of the things is like they are giving people the chance to kind of change some things, but at the end of the day, I mean, what value add is there for people to still be using their API if they've pretty much governed just about everything that you have to do? Like they throttled your ability to really utilize everything that they're doing with respect to the information that you can pull from their database and share, whether it be with your coach or how your coach uses your information on different platforms and how they can gather that stuff. And there's a plethora of things that they just kind of turned off.
Yeah.
What's your take?
It seems like they're just cutting out a lot of people who rely on sharing that API. All these smaller fitness apps or coaching apps where your Strava data is pushed to another app so that they can analyze your data and give you feedback if you're using a coach for something.
Yeah.
So any company that uses Strava to push their data to somebody else, Strava has cut that off.
Sure.
So there might be 50 or 100 different fitness apps out there that rely on Strava to send the data to their
Oh, you know what?
company.
I didn't even think about this one. I use this, granted, I haven't been on Strava a ton of late just because I've been doing mostly stuff on Zwift, but there's a Chrome extension called Strava Sauce, I think it is.
Yeah, I use it too. That's good. That's a great one.
fantastic. Is that going to be something that's going to get throttled as well?
I don't see. I have this feeling that the way that hold on. You hear
What
that?
you doing? Yeah.
It's not mine. Is that mine? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my background music whenever I say something really poignant.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Somebody call me.
No, I was texting Ray to see if he would like hop on the podcast with us. But
It's like 2 a.m. in Amsterdam.
he's in Amsterdam right now. Yeah. But he's always like, this is when he definitely works at this hour.
Okay.
He's so weird. What was I talking about? Something poignant. I don't remember what it was.
Strava Sauce.
Yeah, so I think the way that works is it's a browser extension, so it's looking at the code on the website itself. So there's not necessarily an API to look at that data and then reinterpret it slightly different or give you more information. So that wouldn't necessarily go through the API. It could, however, use the API. Strava would probably say you're not allowed to look at our website code and do that. That would be against their terms of service, whereas using their API is within their terms of service. Mm-hmm. So my guess is, so I always thought that Strava Sauce plugin didn't use their API. I just thought that it was kind of like this illegal thing that they did, and right, like it's like one developer probably like making this thing. It's like a Chrome extension. It's awesome if you guys want to check it out. But they could be using the API to kind of pull in more data. I have no idea how they do it, but if they're using the API, then absolutely that would be affected by this. there was this recent, like, since this whole kerfluffle, there's been like the CEO of Strava came back on and he said, hey, we think that this is only going to affect 0.1% of the apps that are out there. So they're probably changed some of these terms of service to target specific things that they kind of felt like, hey, this is you're playing in our wheelhouse and we don't want you guys to do this. But the way that they did it with this like sweeping hammer of changing their terms of service technically affects everybody that uses their API. So,
and they really put people in a bind too. They gave them 30 days to change everything.
Yes.
And this is us going through 2 holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas in that same
Right.
time period. And that's the time of year where the cycling industry or people that work in this industry, they kind of take the month
Time
off
off,
of
yeah.
They're
so
just not around.
as of like November 11th. So November 11th plus 30 days.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time there. So, I mean, it's going to be pretty tricky for people because they don't want to get in trouble for using the API incorrectly. It's going to shut down some small apps for sure. And I think it's going to piss off a percentage of Strava users. Some of those users will turn off their premium account. But I still think that, we're talking about a small group of people making big waves.
Gotcha. Well, let's dig into Strava real quick, just our personal experiences. What is it that you use Strava for? What makes Strava be something that you're like, I love this app? What is that you love about Strava?
I'm a professional Strava-er.
You are so pro.
That's all. People ask me what I do for a job, and I say Strava. That's what I do.
Strava.
No, I don't work for Strava. I love the leaderboards. Clearly, that is part of my, megalomaniac personality, where I like to win at things and I like to be competitive. And so I love being on the Strava leaderboards or seeing a segment and then going after it. So that part, that's one of the things I love most about it. The second thing I love most is I get to see all my friends, what they're doing as well, where they're training, what they're doing. I might have a friend, Ian might do a ride in England, and he does it enough that I want to go do that loop that he's doing. And then
save the route.
And I save the route, and at some point I go do it. Doing the White Rim Trail in Canyonlands National Park. I saw 5 or 6 friends do it, and I saw their pictures and what they did, and so that made it on my list of things I wanted to go ride someday.
So it's a good inspiration for
So
you.
it's an inspiration for me as well.
Okay.
It's also motivating because I follow several of my frenemies that I compete with, and I see what kind of training they're doing the winter, and I'm like, oh, freaking A, I got to get out on my bike if I want to be
It's got a motivational undertone to it as well. Okay. Got it.
And the community aspect of it, the social part of it. I can like other people's rides. I can comment on other people's rides. I can share some photos or videos of the rides that I take. So,
And the two of you guys have said this many times on this podcast. You guys wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for Strava.
that's
100%
right.
correct. Yep.
Yeah. The app is clearly the best social athletic network that I personally use, right? So, there's all kinds of social networks. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, all these different things. But this one is really fantastic because it's very athletic specific. You can look at the pace, the power, all the athletic data that you have, but the routes and what people are doing, and then you kind of also have pictures associated with that. It is fantastic. It's a fantastic social network in some ways.
So with respect to being a social network, how many times did you guys run across stuff during this last political cycle that people were posting political stuff on there and getting into arguments and fights?
None.
Zero.
That's
fantastic.
There's nothing political. And I unfollowed maybe a dozen friends on
Facebook.
other apps that I didn't want to see any more political crap.
Yeah.
No, Facebook was the one, right?
Yes.
It's like Facebook is so bad about all of that stuff, and it's like where people go to just bitch about stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so glad I never open up Facebook. I post things there, but I don't go there, and it's bad because then I'm not picking up on any of the follow up of the things that I post.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it because you hop on there, and first of all, it's a time suck. Second of all, there's not a lot of like positivity there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I hate about Facebook that you don't find on Strava is like all of the ads, the sponsored ads. Like I'm not getting solicited to 24/7. Now, you'll see the random thing that comes through every once in a while, but I'm super surprised that they haven't worked that into their whole algorithm, or not algorithm, I guess that wouldn't be part of the algorithm, but their whole like platform to have these paid ads where people are trying to sell you stuff on there.
Strava could do that. They should.
That's what I'm saying, but they haven't done it yet.
It's not a bad thing that so many people are using this free platform. I'm on free currently. Mm-hmm. And if there were ads, I would be like, this makes sense. You have to pay for this platform. Yeah. Right.
Well, if they're not selling you ads, then you are the product,
right,
and your information is being used. And that leads me to my question here
this is a great question.
What are they setting themselves up to do here? Why are they turning off the API? Why are they what are they going to be doing with you? Because you have to be some sort of value add to them.
Right.
If you're not paying for their product and they're not selling you or trying to sell you these sponsored ads, right, what are they trying to do now to leverage the platform to make the money that they need to be, making?
I think that this really comes down to if you're not paying for the premium platform, which I know it's a large percentage of the people that are, I'm guessing, what do you think it is? It's probably 10% of the people or less are paying for the premium edition of it. I'm guessing it's very small.
I would say it's a little bit higher than that, but I could be.
It depends on if
wrong.
we're talking about active users but I bet you it's very, very small because, that would be interesting. I bet it's less than 10%.
All right.
I would guess really, really low, less than 5% actually.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure if I answered what you were thinking, the direction we were going. But
I was thinking that if not, right, then what are they getting out of me, right? I'm not looking at ads. But what they are getting, and I think what probably piss a lot of people off, they get all of my data, all of every run I do, every picture I post, every comment, every social connection that I have.
Yep.
They own all of that. And I think this is what people probably have a problem with. They think, this is my data that I'm giving to Strava. And yeah, you are. But once it's over in their hands, they're going to say we own this data. And then when they flip around and they're going to say through our API, we will share some of our data. Granted, we think it's our own data, but it's really Strava's data. They're saying we will share some of our data. Now, when we see people doing really cool stuff with that, we're going to be like, oh, we want to do that really cool thing. We want to make sure that this data that we own isn't being taken away from us and being repackaged and reused in a certain way that we don't agree with. So I think it's that whole who owns the data thing that every major organization that is a social media group that comes in, they want to own the data. They don't want to own any of the responsibility for having that data. You have some hate speech on Facebook or Strava or whatever.
Right.
Facebook's that wasn't us. We don't own that data. But then you're well, then I should be able to do whatever I want to with the data that I posted here. No. We own that data. So it's kind of they want both sides of the coin. They want both sides of the coin. They want the positives of both pieces. But
so what's the end game here? Why make a sweeping change like this?
Well,
because they want to have their own AI. We've already seen they're dipping their toes into their AI system, which is,
by the way,
call it crap.
I figured out a way to turn that off.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
huh?
did you?
Somebody, one of my Instagram followers posted a story about how to turn it off. So there is a way to turn that off.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't use it at all. I never click on it, and I think it's.
Before we jump into
Sure.
what they're doing with this, you were wrong about the percentage of users, and I was really wrong. It's only 2%.
2%.
What? 2% of users are premium subscribers?
2%.
I would have guessed less than that even because I said less than 10 and then I said less than 5. But yeah,
the app has over 100 million athletes on the app. 2% of them are premium users, and so it derives 90% of its income from that little general piece.
I wonder though how many people are active users versus I signed up for Strava at one point and I have a dead account floating out there somewhere. So
I don't know.
They're active users, people posting, if they posted in the past 3 weeks, you could be those are active users versus these just kind of zombie accounts. Mm-hmm. That'd be my question about that too. But anyway, that's just diving into the weeds of premium stuff. But yeah,
anyway, that's still a relatively small percent, but it's a lot bigger than say Strava or not Strava. I'm sorry, Twitter or X. I think that they said that it's 0.005% of Twitter accounts are paying for the Twitter Blue, which is effectively the X with the little check mark next to it. So for them to be at 2% for their people to pay, that's good. And there are some value adds to being a paying customer. You definitely have, there's a value proposition there that's good. It could be better, but they have raised the price in the past year and change or two or whatever.
Okay, so that means out of 100 million subscribers, 2 million are premium subscribers, and they're paying $12 a month for that. So they're pulling in $24 million a month to run Strava.
Ooh, good math.
Yeah, well, that's simple math, I think.
The big brain on Brad.
So you're Strava CEO, right? And
Yeah.
Jake and I are on your platform or whatever. I have like my own little app that does really cool stuff with AI as far as like looking at your training programs and making recommendations, right? So you're Strava
Yep.
and you see here's this guy, he's using your API, he's using your data to do some cool stuff. And you also are trying to build an AI piece to yours. Now, Jake clicks on yours and it says, you need to be a premium member to use this feature. He comes over, he clicks on mine, and
You don't.
you don't. So what do?
I want to capture more of the coaching market. People are willing to pay for coaching.
Yeah.
I want the coaching market, so I'll just make it so
But
that
you don't
my
wanna-
data doesn't get shared to a
Right.
coaching app because I want to offer my own coaching services.
You're trying to sell that premium service,
Yeah.
right? And if
So-
I'm over here like taking a piece of the pie, you're going to be like, "Hey, we got to stop that."
Right. And if we're going to add, so we have 2 million premium subscribers, but now there's 100 or there's 1 million that want coaching services. And to get that, they're going to have to upgrade to premium service.
Right.
That's another $12 million a month.
Right. Yeah.
It's another $12 million a month if they convert some of those
If they can
non-premium to premium subscribers. Holy crap, there's some big money at stake here, which makes me, it doesn't surprise me that they're trying to bully people.
Well, and
Right?
this will blow over too. That's the best. Well, maybe it's the worst part where it's like you're going to lose a couple users. They're going to whine and complain about their app that they love not being able to use it or whatever. And 3 months from now, we're going to be talking about how great Strava is again. And yeah, they're going to be annoying because they're going to be trying to sell me on the next greatest thing, or maybe their AI will get better. And you guys will be like, hey, this thing's turning out to be pretty cool.
Yeah, am I going to quit Strava because
Are you going to quit Strava?
No,
Are you going to quit Strava?
No.
Premium?
No, not
Quit-
unless
quit
something else
Strava
better comes
Premium?
up.
I'm not.
So a couple things is like
Right.
when you get into a situation like this and you're kind of like the only game in town that's really doing what you're
Right.
doing, that's prime for somebody else to come in and say, hey, we're doing
can
the
do
same
it better.
thing. Yeah,
We can do it cheaper.
Yeah.
It's really hard though.
But oh my gosh,
because Strava does so much, and so social networks are the worst because if you don't have the social effect of having people,
What's
then
to
you can have
stop
the
with
best features in the
like
world.
a high-end programmer, app developer.
Let's call
to
him
go-
Matt.
Matt, let's
He
say
comes
Matt,
in, he builds something better than Strava.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Here's what's
and
stopping.
You jump on board with like Map My Ride or
Yep, sure.
whatever it is,
Oh, okay.
and then you
Or Ride with GPS.
Ride with GPS. That's what I meant to say. You marry those two things together. I mean, granted, Ride with GPS still is costing about the same amount as Strava per year. It's about
Yeah,
80ish.
it's like $80 a year
And that's
to
about
have
what
the premium account.
Strava
for
works
Ride with
out to
GPS.
as well if you pay for it on the year
Yep.
plan.
Yep.
You know, what's to say that you can't come in there and create a better platform and draw more
Because-
people in and then maybe drop that price down a little bit?
No one's going to come to my social network if no one else is there.
Right.
So
Well,
for me to
that's-
it's
even
just-
build, for me to even get to like 1 million users for a free platform, I have a better chance of like shooting a basketball from right here into your basketball goal.
Yeah.
Where's your basketball goal?
I don't have one. but
Exactly.
exactly.
Right. Like there's like zero chance. So
Yeah.
the thing is like to
Called
get
a hoop,
this is
Matt.
Well, it's
Basketball
just,
goal.
You know, it's,
so to get this social network thing off the floor, like there was 1 million Facebooks that were like trying to make it happen all at the same time, and one of them came out and ended up dominating. Right? It's like these social networks are so hard, and once you have the ball rolling, it's like, well, then you have the ball rolling. It's moving. Things are working. It just takes forever for things to take off, and all of these companies, I get like emails every single day from some company that's got this Strava killer or Zwift killer or all these different platforms. But guess what? It's like, well, you don't have the people. And it gets really hard if you don't have the people, even if you have a great product and you're giving it away. And you can only do that for so long. I don't know.
Like Indie Velo trying to compete with Zwift.
It's hard.
And now it's been bought by Training Peaks, and Training Peaks is going to make it a subscription model instead of a free model. And what would be the draw for me to go to Indie Velo over Zwift, other than the parameters and metrics might be better on Indie Velo or Training Peaks.
It's harder to cheat on Indie Velo.
Yes.
There's lots of great things.
But nobody's on it.
No
one's
people's. Yep.
You don't use it.
Right.
It's going to be free
I want to
for
ride
you.
with my friends or I want to ride with other people, I'll stay on Zwift.
Yep.
Yeah.
But my point is, if there's ever a time for something to kind of step up and start to do something, it would be ish now. You know, so,
I agree, sort of. I think
but
that the numbers don't.
the likelihood of happening probably very slim and none, unless you have someone like Facebook say or Apple say, like, we want to start a social network. We've got people that's going to be in this fitness realm. Maybe you want to do something like that, and that's one thing. But my other question is like, all right, what's really going on? Like, yes, they want to make more money. They're a company, they're a for-profit company. Who knows what their bottom line is? Who knows what they're making and whatnot?
It's a private company. We don't know the numbers.
Exactly. So maybe that's part of it. Is like maybe they need to tighten up the ship a little bit and like close off some of these little conduits that are going out where they're losing possible future ancillary profit streams that can make another 10, 15, 20 million dollars a month and just make it that much more valuable. Maybe they are thinking about doing an IPO. Yeah. Maybe they are being approached by a big conglomerate that wants to purchase them, and they need to like do certain things or have certain metrics or hit certain benchmarks, and this is a part of that process.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So that
could be.
I tend to lean towards that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes, if you ask me. You know, that's a big payday for these guys, and they've been doing it for a lot of years. And the person, the CEO, is one of the people that started the company, stepped away from the company, put a different CEO in there who completely took the company in a wrong direction. They gave him the axe. He came back in, kind of righted the ship, and has been adding stuff. But it's kind of funny when I watched the Ray video and read his little blog thing. He's like, every time they do something good, they always come along and just hit you over the head with a hammer and piss everybody off. And it's just like, all right, why do you keep doing this? Like, it's like, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Because they're the only game in town, and they know they can.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that for this, they probably have known that this is an issue for a long time. If they want to have these features in the future, that they don't want to compete against their own API, then they are going to have to pull this Band-Aid off at some point and be like, this might piss off a couple people. Well, let's just change. We're going to change our API usage rules, and hopefully we do it around the holidays and no one notices. Well, we noticed.
Everybody noticed. Okay, so big questions.
Okay.
What about the training apps that people use? Are those affected? Like Trainer Road, like FastCat, like, I don't know, what are the other, AI coaching apps?
Training
that are
Peaks,
out there?
Trainer Road.
Training Peaks, yep, all those things.
Does Zwift get affected by this? Because
it doesn't.
Well, kind of. Well, wasn't there something set up with all of the segments? Didn't somebody go through? I thought I saw something about that. Anyway, we'll say that it doesn't. So, so to answer your question though, no, I don't believe that they're going to be affected by this because the unit that you're using, you generally set that up to push to that directly.
Correct.
It doesn't go to Strava and then to that other entity.
So Trainer Road, that's one of the biggest ones out there right now. And yeah, the ride data pushes directly from your Garmin or from your Wahoo or from Zwift.
Correct.
They go from those sites straight to Trainer Road. They don't go through Strava and then to Trainer Road. FastCat, same thing.
Same thing with Training Peaks too.
Yeah, Training Peaks, same thing. They go straight from your computer, not through Strava. So those apps aren't affected. They've already insulated themselves.
Yeah, it's interesting. The direction of this data is all very interesting, right? It's like, for you, both of you guys, it's Wahoo through their Wahoo app.
Yes.
So again, that's your data that becomes Wahoo's data.
Yes.
And they're okay with you sharing that to Strava's API, which then it becomes Strava's data. But Wahoo could turn off their API and be like, yep, we're not doing this anymore. We're not going to share our data with Strava because we want to do our own social platform.
They could.
So they could do something similar to that. But it would be weird because they're so competitive with Garmin, who also does the same thing. You go to the Garmin Connect app. That's where all of your data gets dumped into. All of that data gets forwarded onto Strava. Strava then forwards it on to apps. You mentioned like Trainer Road and places like that they're getting that data from the kind of primary spot, like the Garmin spot or the Wahoo spot.
Yeah.
There's other apps that I think are hitting the Strava APIs. There's like Zert and Trainer Road can all of these companies can get the data from wherever. I'm trying to think. Velo Viewer is another like app then just neat little. There's a lot of tiny little apps too that are hitting the Strava data.
And just make the whole thing much more enjoyable, much more fun to dig into.
Right.
Kind of neat to look at different
Neat
analytics.
to look at all the analytics.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see like, hey, this data that it's not necessarily. It's like they're going through 3-4 different places. Like, who gets to claim the flag that they own that data, and is that really fair? I don't know. I feel like Strava, you're built on other people's data. Don't try to wall it off and be like the one that's in charge of it.
This all has to be like a big symbiotic relationship. They all need each other, and so when somebody starts putting up walls and creating like situations where you can't like cohesively exist, it
would be hilarious if Garmin and Wahoo like handshake were like, yeah, let's just turn Strava off. They'd be so screwed, right? Like, people use their phone to exercise and have that data go to Strava. I have a ton of runners that do that, and I'm like, just have your Garmin watch do it. Like, it'd just be so funny if Garmin turned off Strava API access.
Garmin kind of thought that they were going to try and do something along the lines of Strava.
Similar?
I mean, they've got that
They
on there
do.
where you can go in there and you can see all of your stuff, and you've got
a lot of
community
the same
connect,
features.
but nobody uses it.
Yeah.
Nobody uses it.
It's a lot of the same features that are within Garmin Connect. You can have people follow you on Garmin Connect. You have a lot of privacy pieces. It's a
they
good
even
platform.
have segments on there, but I don't think
They
that
do.
do they pull the segments from Strava, or is it stuff that's generated through?
I think they use their own segments that are runs and bike rides that are popular from their user data that they have.
But when you go into Garmin Connect, I haven't looked in a long time, and I'm assuming it's still there. They will have segments. It's like, oh, you did you set a PR on this
and a
particular
badge,
segment,
and they have all this badge stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of
I
people
have
really,
no idea.
but
I have not.
it's
But a
using
lot
all
of people
the,
love Garmin Connect.
Yeah.
It is, and as far as analytics goes, it's better than Strava.
oh, hands down.
It's fantastic.
So,
It's-
okay, this kind of leads me to my next question, because there are a lot of things about Strava that are fantastic, but there are a lot of like little supplemental apps that you can use that are just far better than what they provide for some of the information. So like the first thing would be like just doing a detailed dive into the analytics, the metrics of your ride. Is that the first place you go, or do you go somewhere else to see the metrics of your ride? If you're wanting to look at your power numbers and your heart rate numbers and all of the speed and cadence and all of
I
those
go to
stuff.
Training Peaks.
Training
Training
Peaks.
Peaks.
Yep.
Yeah, Training Peaks is
They
excellent.
run circles around Strava when it comes to that.
Yep.
I mean, Strava doesn't even have normalized power on it. They've got their own little thing that's completely separate and different,
quite
and
the same.
it's like apples and oranges to everything. So you're going to go somewhere else if you really want to see that information or that data. And just going back to like the Element app or the Garmin Connect app, you're going to see that information laid out quite a bit better, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's really well done on a lot of these apps. And it's just one thing that's tricky about this is where you have like the Wahoo Fitness app is excellent. You can see really good metrics. Garmin Connect, I really do like. I think it's excellent. But like Garmin's never going to be like, hey, Wahoo, send your data on in here into Garmin Connect and use our platform. I mean, it would be kind of neat if they did that, because then at that point, then the Garmin Connect ecosystem could actually compete with something like Strava.
Yeah. But
You have to be open to third parties is what.
Yeah. So my point is though that there's other apps that are doing it better than they are. So another example would be like your route planning. Like Lance and I have both had this issue before. Like you're somewhere where you don't necessarily ride ever, if you've never been before. You're like, I want to ride and do this route, but I have no idea where to go. So let's go create a route. You've got two things that you can pull that up. If you're not using one of them and you're gonna use Strava, chances are you're gonna find yourself in a bad way in the middle of nowhere or on a path or something like that that's washed out or completely not.
Traditionally, Strava has their suggested routes.
Yeah.
I have gone down unrideable roads or dead end streets many times on the Strava suggested routes than if I pick a route on
Ride with GPS.
GPS.
So yeah, exactly. Lance uses this all of the time.
Yes.
I use it when I travel sometimes, and I always get these crappy routes if I use Strava. Like I was in Arizona trying to do a gravel ride, and no joke, I got to the top of the mountain following this gravel ride that's supposed to just be mixed surfaces and gravel dirt. And I get to the top, and these two enduro bros look over me wearing helmets and full pads and full like enduro bikes. Like, dude, what are you doing up here?
You are in the wrong spot.
Like, oh, are you going to ride down this? I'm like, oh, that's where the route's telling me I'm not from here. Like, oh yeah, just be careful. And I look down. I'm like, crap. I literally had to shoulder my bike and I'm scaling down the side of a mountain trying to not die, like just taking my life in my own
Do you
hands.
think that was just because of there was so much like
Yes.
downhill cycling
Heat
going
map.
on that the heat map was like, this is a great ride.
Yeah, it's a great gravel ride.
It's a great ride for you.
Yeah.
And it was not. And like I've had other times too where it takes you on city streets. There's no reason why you should be riding a road. And in Arizona, even like I was riding down this road, I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm basically riding on what feels like a freeway here with no bike lane. And I'm like, get me the hell off.
And there's
this.
a road like 2 blocks away that
Yes.
you could be going down.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've had that situation happen a few times. I had it happen to me in Texas too. I thought I was gonna die. I mean, big old dualies wanting to kill me and run me off the road.
With Ride with GPS, they don't create suggested routes.
Yeah.
They only offer you routes that people have already done.
Yeah.
And have allowed to be used as public.
So you have to imagine that people on Strava have done that as well, but it doesn't seem like they were using it. Now, things could have changed. I haven't used it probably in 2 years, so I don't know if they've made it better, but
No, just like last month, I was doing a route with Randy Frost, and we were trying to find a gravel route to ride from the cyclocross race venue that we were at. And it took us down a road that didn't exist anymore.
sure.
We had to stop, backtrack, and find our own way around the canyon that it was trying to take us through.
Yeah.
And that was a Strava suggested route that
Yeah.
we had to turn around on.
What other facets of Strava that they have there that you can use, whether you're free or pay premium, are done better on other apps? Can you think of anything? I mean, it's kind of cool that you got the pictures on there, you got the video, and that's all kind of fun. And that used to be something that you have to use Instagram. You had to post. That was the only reason why I started using Instagram, was because I wanted to be able to put pictures on my Strava. And that was the only way that you could connect that. So I created an Instagram account, and that's why my early Instagram was just all bike stuff, and it would just push over there. So now it's nice to see that they're doing that, and that works out really well. It's probably not as good as like a Facebook or a whatever their social platform, but it's good, serviceable. But what other facets of Strava, off the top of your head, can you think of anything? I mean, if I could find something, I would use it over the club component any day of the week. Yeah. The club component is so neglected, but it's such a powerful tool. It's a great way to bring community together. But
it's an easy way for us to announce the
Different things that are
club
going on.
rides that
Correct.
we do.
Yep.
You can't put hot links into them anymore.
and that was the thing, is they absolutely killed me. You cannot
When
put
did
a
they
web link.
do that? That was maybe like
It was like 2
month or
months
two
ago.
Yeah.
It was not very long ago.
Yeah.
They just
wasn't that
changed
long
that.
ago.
Because
Yeah,
I'm trying to send out all the information to go join our weekly Zwift rides, and you need a link for that.
Yeah.
And I push out the first one. I'm like, what the heck, where'd that go? I'm like, oh, that's right. I heard something about that. Went red. Sure enough, they were having some problems with spammers putting links in different things. And I personally haven't dealt with any of it, but they felt that the best solution to that was just basically turn off all links. You can't put any links in there at all, period. It's
the
just
nuclear option.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what DC Rainmaker called it, is the nuclear option. They shut it all down instead of just suspicious looking ones down.
So we can't put that up there. Like, I'm having to all right, you're going to have to copy and paste this, and then you're going to have to go put it into your browser. Then you're going to have to change the word that says dot and put a dot there, and then put a W, do that whole thing. And I'm like, all right, that's not going to work either, because people aren't going to do that. So I'm like, hey, just go to our website. We've got our Dialed Cycling website. There's a link in our podcast that's got all the information for it, the ride that's coming up with all the hyperlinks, and you just have to remember to go there. And you're just creating another step to get them to view that. It just sucks that they do that kind of stuff. So if I could find a better way to, get everybody from Strava to be on an app that, is
a
better.
different app.
Yeah.
Different.
It's kind of like how we use Discord with Zwift. I mean, Zwift, there's no excuse for them not to have that, knowing that RGT had it at some point and it worked great.
It's so funny. I was on this media call with Zwift, and it was like it was really cool, because it was like this specific ride where they're previewing the Jarvis route, which is like this new route that they just introduced like a couple weeks ago.
The original route that they first ever did, they brought it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool.
It was pretty cool.
It was super cool. I rode it last night. It was great. But we did this media ride, and they're like, okay, you'll join this group with this account, and you'll be on this thing, and they'll show it to you early, and then we're all going to be talking, but we're going to hop on this Discord.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we can't do it on Zwift.
Discord, huh?
Wait, this was from Zwift.
Yeah.
They had you add
Use Discord.
Use Discord.
Yeah. Come on, Zwift.
Come on.
So they have to know that this is low hanging fruit. It's been low hanging fruit for years now. they're using it. They're using Discord. They gotta know. Like,
just do it.
everyone's. If you want to do a ride with a group of people,
Okay, here's my problem with that.
Okay.
There's two things that I think are a problem with that.
yeah,
One is if I'm doing a ride with 150 other people, I don't want the channel open to everybody.
correct.
If all 150 people can be on
The Discord.
the Discord, that's just friggin'. That sounds like a mess.
But yeah, that's a good point. And maybe that's something like, there's different tools for this, right? Where a lot of the I don't want to like promote Twitter or X, but like they have this platform where they I don't remember what they call it, where they have these like discussions and anyone can come in and listen to the discussions, but only key people can actually speak. I don't remember what they call it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there's actually a number of these different.
So maybe there's a way to do
There's
that.
a way to do that, right? Right. So Zwift would be a fantastic company to be like, hey, we don't want
I wouldn't
150 people.
ever jump on that anyway. I mean, you could make that an option, but for having that component built into Zwift, you would have to use that for like club rides. Or maybe if it's like you can jump in there, then you can click on the things that's like only my friends, only people that I'm connected with that I follow.
Can be
You know,
on.
the- So if you're the club or
They
just
could-
the people
that'd
that
be a
you
way to
follow
fix
or
that.
everybody, that's just a simple toggle, right? I'm sure that's pretty easy to program, right, Matt?
Yeah, no problem.
My other potential question is it a bandwidth issue?
Yes.
So
It is
because
definitely a
they're
bandwidth
already
issue.
it's already using a ton of bandwidth. You notice
Right.
how you can only see like the 100 riders around you at any given time.
Yeah.
Like if there's more than 100 riders around you, you only see the 100 closest to you. Otherwise, there's like
Chaos.
It's chaos. It's like too much bandwidth.
Here's a question for Matt then. Is there a way for them to partner up with Discord and then have a Discord thing built into it that's not run on the Strava bandwidth part of the whole deal, but you can still like click through on Strava and kind of have it pop up and be one and the same, but two separate entities?
They could. So 2 separate apps. And the problem is, I think what a lot of us are probably doing is using Discord on a different device than Strava
Yes.
on a different, and having like, sorry, I
Yeah,
said Strava, but Zwift on a different one device and then having Discord on a different device.
And that's what I do.
That's what I
Strava's run on my, not Strava, but Zwift is run on my iPad and then
Yep.
I use Discord on my phone.
Yeah.
Yes, same.
That's what I do a lot too.
Yeah.
And that works really well. I think that the smart move for Zwift would be use that companion app. They have that companion app. I feel like it's kind of like the neglected, like redheaded stepchild of Zwift that kind of gets like put aside. Like, oh yeah, we do have that thing. The companion app is actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
I use it on every ride.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
It's
for
helpful.
sure.
It's super helpful. And it's
Yeah.
nice and it's like easy to operate and just kind of do things. And that's the place to do it because then you're not going to have bandwidth issues and you're not going to have the overhead of having all of that VoIP connection, all of that data that's coming across and trying to have like your ride data come through as well. And we talk about like how this is such low hanging fruit and it's so easy, but like there's still only a very small percentage of people that want to set up a conversation with a group of people. It's probably pretty small.
I don't know.
It's club rides.
Maybe, but that's how you create more people.
Yep.
If you make the club component more valuable, if you make it something that's easier to use with more,
And there's pressure for people to join.
Yeah,
for sure.
like if I'm going to start putting on rides and like crap, there's like 30 people doing these dialed rides. I have a little bit of FOMO. I want to jump in and be a part of that as well. I
Yes.
want to be able to communicate with them as well. And if they're going to make it that much easier, because there are a lot of people that just don't jump on our Discord because they're like technology is hard.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
really not that big of a deal, but it's like
another thing.
It's just one more thing that you got to worry about.
Yeah.
But if you made that easier, make it lower barrier of entry, and more people are doing that, then like, oh, I want to go do that too. Like I'll leave, whatever Indie Velo or whatever my whoosh or whatever to go be a part of that because I'm getting that FOMO. I don't want to miss out.
Yeah, I think doing it through the companion app is the right way to do it because it's already got like, again, it knows who you're with. It knows where you are within Zwift. It knows like if you have joined an event, it knows all of that stuff within the companion app. Might as well add a VoIP like piece to it. And I don't think it would be a heavy like engineering lift for them.
I thought we were talking about Strava.
Whoa.
How'd we get on Zwift?
We are very fast to take sidetracks. We're quick to go down rabbit holes.
Squirrel. Still a good value for you guys. Still worth your $80 a year.
It's
well,
my
I guess
professional-
Matt's not paying for it. I mean,
I don't pay for it.
so
I'm like the one I have paid for it in years past, and
What would make you want to pay for it again?
I don't. Well, so my runners that I coach all use it. They all use the free account, and I love being able to kind of keep track of them and give them kudos and like just see what they're up to. And you can see routes and things like that. It's fantastic. And then we also do this thing where we track mileage and reward kids. Basically, like you can earn a 100-mile shirt if you do 100 miles over the summer, or a 200-mile shirt. And we have been using Strava, and it's been fantastic. If there was a coaching piece to it where I could say, like, yeah, you know, our team uses this to track our miles, and I need to keep track of, you know, your weekly mileage, and I need to be able to see that specific stuff, like a little bit more. A lot of the coaching platforms have this. In fact, even Garmin has this through like their Garmin Connect. They have like a coaching system that's really good. If Strava had something like that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll pay for that. I would pay for that, because then I could really take care of the athletes that I'm seeing. So
what are we missing out on if we're just using the free version? You don't get to do the mapping, which sucks.
Right. The routing. Yeah. You can't do routing. You don't get their AI thing.
Oh, bummer.
But they advertise for that. It's like, we have insights for you.
You get the leaderboards, right? But you only can see the top 10.
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Leaderboards are quite weird.
Okay.
That would drive you crazy.
It would drive you crazy.
You can see 10, and then like you can see your best effort, and there's all this grayed out stuff around it.
Gotcha. And if I'm not mistaken, you don't get the little pop-up display on your head unit that you're using for the segments.
Correct.
So you don't get the like countdown, like, hey, it's coming up in 500 meters, 200
Strava
meters.
segments on your computer.
Yep.
Strava segments on your computer are, which is huge.
Yeah.
And that's true.
I
That's
don't
probably
ever use that.
You don't?
No.
What?
Not at all?
I don't.
Because it tells you while you're doing the actual
I'm
segment
aware of
how
what it
far
does.
ahead or behind you are.
It tells you where you
aware.
are, man.
I just
Why?
How
raw
do you
dog
live
it.
like that? How do you live like that?
Just raw. I don't know. I see a segment and I just go for it because I know where it starts and ends.
And then you just hope that you got it, and then you get back because you're like, yay, I got it. Because that's the way it used to be.
Yep.
Like you're like back in the day when I used to use Strava, like before they had the option, like you knew where the segment kind of started, but it didn't tell you when it actually started. So you're kind of guesstimating where it's at, and you knew where the finish was, and then you're paying attention to like your average, like you knew roughly how fast you had to go for how long, and it's just all the things. So you're like crunching numbers and doing all the math in your head. You're like, I think I got it, and you go back and you upload. You're like, damn it, I just missed it by a second, or ooh, I got it by 5 seconds.
Case in point, yesterday, I attacked 2 segments pretty hard, but I just did them.
You have no idea.
I just did them raw. And when they uploaded, I tied both segments.
Jeez.
I tied for the KO on both segments.
If you're using that for a workout, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're going to push harder if you see that number. If you're falling behind just a second or two, you're going to push that extra little bit harder because you know. Like you're still going hard. I'm not taking anything away from Lance Hepler, because he's giving his best friggin' effort.
How do you even like turn that off? Like, because you're a premium person, and if you star a segment,
I only have
you
like
just don't
2,
star segments.
I just don't star segments.
That would do it. Yeah.
I only have like 2 segments starred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just know roughly where they're at and roughly when they start?
Yeah.
Huh.
Obviously, I spend too much time on Strava, so I know where the ones that I'm interested in, I know where they start and stop.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is interesting is, like, as a person that reviews cycling computers, having Strava segments is a serious feature, which people will like buy or not buy a device based on that one feature.
They like that. Yeah.
It's very important. So Strava has a little bit of a, gold satchel walking around with, they're talking to all of these cycling computer companies, right? Because they're like, hey, yeah, we could theoretically be like, we're not going to support Wahoo anymore. And people would go berserk, right? Because they'd be like, oh, I don't have my Strava segments on Wahoo anymore.
Interesting.
And then you can see it like when you're like talking about Brighton computers, and people are like, oh, it's a fantastic device, but it doesn't have Strava segments or wherever it is.
To say that that's probably the primary glue that holds the cycling community to Strava.
Is
honestly,
the segments?
The segments, yeah.
I agree.
I can't think of anything else that's got a greater impact on making sure that people stay there. If they didn't have that, then, geez, I don't know. I mean, I was actually kind of surprised to learn that like you could only see the top 10, and that they kind of took some of those features away, because that's what's going to keep them on the platform.
It's interesting that they had all those features, and they were like, oh, now we're going to have premium and take features away from people. Like that always left a bad taste in my mouth, where it's like, make cool features.
Yeah.
Make a coaching thing, make an AI thing, do all those things, give all the premium features to the people, but like don't take things away from stuff when you already had it.
And 100%, that's the only reason why I pay for the premium.
It's this leaderboard segments.
It's the segments. I don't care about any of the other stuff because I can get as good, if not better, support for those needs through other apps. I mean, I love Strava. I've always been one of their biggest advocates, and I've been a paying premium member since I think 2010 or 11, somewhere in there. So it's been a lot of years that I've been floating around.
Could you ever foresee, like in the future, where like 5-10 years from now, you're like, but let's say 20 years from now, you're old, you're not going to hit any segments anymore. You're not going to get any KOMs. Like, would you ever be like, I don't need Strava Premium if I'm not going to be able to do these?
Well, no, I probably would stop paying for it, but I would still stay there because I like the community component of it. And I do like the fact that they're not shoving ads down my throat and that people are like nice and they're cordial to each other.
So you would stay on Strava but not pay for the premium?
Correct.
Okay.
Because I don't need their mapping.
The leaderboards are the primary thing.
Strava will look very different in 20 years, even if it's still around. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
I'll go 100% be something else out there.
Yeah, there should be something else out there by then.
But I don't know. I just like Ray said, I feel like every time they get an opportunity, they're smacking people around just because they can. Because like, what are you going to do? You're going to leave? It's like the abuse of, significant other that just keeps slapping you around, but you keep coming back for more. But I don't know. I mean, it's not like they're massive things, but they're being a little bit abusive to their base of people and the people that are connected to them from a business perspective that I think just make them that much better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of like the icing on the cake. You're the cake. Just own that. But what is it that you're doing? What's going on behind the scenes? That's the big question. Why are you doing this? And I think that we're going to see something probably in the next year or two. And either it's them really trying to like fleece the bottom line fleece everybody to make that bottom line grow a bit more. Or maybe they do have something up their sleeve. Maybe they want to be a Training Peaks competitor. Maybe they want to have something that's a better coaching platform or whatever, because what they have kind of sucks. I don't know.
There's got to be something coming.
Anything else on that topic, boys?
Oh, we kind of ripped it apart.
Ray was awake. He says, "Yeah, just me causing issues or something like that." Whatever. He was. I think he works all the time. He's ridiculous.
Wait, I want to know what time it is in Amsterdam right now.
It's probably 2 a.m.
Let's see.
It's
10:30 p.m.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No.
Well, and he's getting ready for that DC Rainmaker open house thing.
Oh,
so
he just posted that video about Strava this week. It looked like he was somewhere more tropical.
He moved. His family is moving. So he still has the DC Rainmaker cave. His studio is in Amsterdam throughout until the end of the year.
And then they're moving?
His family has already moved to Mallorca.
What?
Yeah.
So he's going to move his cave to Mallorca as well?
Yeah. Everything will be moved.
Son of a bitch, I want his life, man.
Does he ever come back to the States at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to live in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Is that where?
I think it was
Well, okay.
Well,
so
DC originally, but then he went to Texas.
He lived in his family. He has family in Seattle, and then he has his wife's sister, I think, is in Florida. So they go to Florida a good bit.
Okay.
And dodge alligators, and and so he comes back. He comes back a good bit, and he also has to come back a lot for like the Apple event or the Samsung event or there's a lot of things that he flies back over for. So he travels.
Sweet.
I think it's gonna be harder to travel from Mallorca than Amsterdam. Amsterdam's really nice because it's like a hub.
Yeah, there's a major airport there.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a short flight from Mallorca to Barcelona.
It's pretty easy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's another flight.
It's another flight.
Yeah.
You're not going to go direct from Mallorca to New York.
Well, you can probably go from Barcelona to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Hey. Patrons.
Patreons. Oh.
Patreons.
I was like, what is that noise?
No,
That's our Patreons.
No Patreon drawing. So we got our little jar of folks here that are our Patreon supporters. Thank you very much. You help keep this little dog and pony show moving on and helping us pay for all of our bills. It's all good times.
Pay my automobiles. We should
We've
have
got
that song.
a bunch of stuff at the lab that's in that bin, but we've also got some Dialed Podcast stickers and some new Dialed stickers too. So you're going to get one of each of the stickers, and you get to pull something out of the bag, and well, yeah, that'll be all yours. Lance pulled something out of it. He shook it up really good, pulled it out, unfolded the name, and it is
Terry Hamness.
Hey, Terry Hamness. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
For all of our Patreon supporters, we greatly thank you and appreciate you. And if you are interested in becoming a Patreon member yourself, you can go to dialpodcast.com and there's a big Patreon link right there on our freshly redesigned podcast page. Click on that, go through, pick a Patreon that works best for you, and we'll go from there.
Where can people go to find our podcast page?
Dialpodcast.com. It will take you straight there.
Okay.
It's all linked up and synced up and all that other good stuff. Also, there's an additional way that you can support the show now, and it will go back into the same Patreon bucket if you want to do it a different way. And that is that same little tab where you can go down there and look to see like the show notes and the links and to send us a text and all that other fun stuff. There's another link in there that says support the show. So it actually will go directly to the podcast. Huh. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that they have like a system where you can actually subscribe to pay a certain amount every so often, or you can just make a one-time payment. If you do want to make a one-time payment, do put something in the notes to us, like whether it be thank you or whatever. But we would be more than happy and love to like mention and say something about you and say thank you. And if there's something like that you want us to talk about or whatever, put it in there. We'll give you a little shout out.
Let us know.
Yeah. So
and people should be giving us the highest ratings on.
Thank you for bringing that up, Matt. I forgot to bring that up. It's been a minute since people have been putting. We get them every now and then.
Somewhere between we say somewhere between 5 stars and 5 stars, somewhere in that range.
Exactly. On your favorite platform, just go out there and give us a little review. That'd be awesome. And like you said, that 5-star thing would be fantastic. So it's been a minute since we've asked for that. So thanks for reminding me, Matt. Lance, you got anything else you want to say about that?
I just sent a message to the Dialed Cycling podcast.
Oh, great.
Oh.
It says, suck it.
We'll get back to you
next week.
Oh, I already blew it.
Tune in
next week and we'll answer the question.
We'll respond. We'll respond accordingly.
That's funny. Anyway, so thanks for everybody for supporting us. Appreciate it. Thank you, Terry, too. You are the winner chicken dinner. Hey, let's do one last thing and get out of here. Who wants to go first? Oh, Matt LeGrand, you go first.
I always go first. I finally got my review out for the Hammerhead Crew video. That's the last video that I have posted. Next video that should be working on is on the Amazfit T-Rex 3 watch. It's kind of like, in a lot of ways, it's actually crazy. In a lot of ways, it's very much like a Garmin Fenix 8 with like a microphone and a speaker and an AMOLED screen.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And it's big and it has a huge battery and it does like all these things.
Pulled that up and just flashed at me real quick and then I went away from it. I'm like, oh, that's a nice new Fenix you got there.
Yeah. So what's funny is, what's the price of a Fenix? Just like round number?
$1,000.
Yeah. Okay. Price of this? $270 on sale right now.
Holy cow.
On sale right now for $240 or 230 something. Crazy. The price is insane. The price
is insane. That's a good looking watch, Matt. For $279, you said?
The price is insane. I think it's more like $230 or $240 right now on sale. So I really need to get this video out the door while it's on sale.
What's the battery life like?
Pretty damn good. I use it with the always on display on, and it doesn't always, I mean, the feature always on display is a little bit weird because so for AMOLED devices, you raise your arm and it'll wake up. If you use it in that mode, they say it'll go 30 days, which is not exactly true. It'll maybe go like 20 days. And then with the always on display, I'm getting like over 10 days, like 10 to somewhere between 10 and 14 days. Gotcha. The battery life's impressive. GPS accuracy seems okay to me. Heart rate accuracy is okay. I've had some really good data with it, and I've had like one of the sets of data that looked pretty far off. It's going to be, it's a good option for someone that just doesn't want to pay a ton of money. Is it as good as a Fenix? No. If you're, looking at a watch and like $1,000 sounds like an insane amount of money, this might be something to consider. It's the comparison with the Fenix is such it's a very common, comparison, but I really think that people that are shopping for a Fenix should shop for a Fenix. Yeah. And the people that would never shop for a Fenix should maybe consider something like this.
Just looking at it, I'm out.
Yeah.
No flashlight.
No flashlight. That's a good point. I need to add that to my review. Yeah.
Does it have sapphire glass on it?
It does not.
Okay, so it's
more susceptible stainless steel and some sort of Gorilla Glass type glass.
How does the Gorilla Glass compare to a sapphire glass?
Sapphire's way more scratch resistant.
I need that in my life because I tend to like bump my watch pretty much all the time. So, and the flashlight, I've probably already used it a half dozen times today alone.
Oh, the flashlight thing is the best feature that people need to consider for sure. Yep.
Cool. Yep.
This weekend, Scott Schultz is putting on his final cyclocross race of the season.
Heyo.
It's called Crossmas Lights Night Race.
Oh, I read about that.
So it's going to be up at Washougal at the motocross park. It is a afternoon night race. So, and they've got all their Christmas light displays up. So you'll be riding through the Christmas light displays and through the tunnels and whatnot. It sounds like a whole lot of fun. First race starts at like 2:00. Last race is at like 7:40. It gets dark here at 4:30. So the last several races will be in the dark. They will have the area lit, but it should be a whole lot of fun.
Isn't it supposed to be torrential again this weekend? There's supposed to be another
there is more rain
cyclone,
coming,
but not a bomb cyclone.
But Sunday specifically doesn't look terrible
yet.
It might not rain on Sunday yet. But we have already had a whole lot of rain.
Yeah.
So kind of fewer categories because we're kind of combining some categories. It's just a little bit different, but come out and support his last race.
And you're going for sure?
I'm not sure if I'm going. My daughter, Kelty from Salt Lake, is in town. She surprised us this weekend and flew back for some family things. And we've got family things going on, and I'm not positive I'm going to go to this race or not. Mm-hmm. We are going to see the movie Wicked tonight.
Sweet.
I normally wouldn't probably
Are you going to dress up
see.
for this one?
Should I? Should
I
I
don't know.
put my witch hat
for
on?
Barbie, the Barbie one, right? But I feel like if you have any way to dress up, do it.
All right.
Dude, if I went to a movie, I would fall asleep so fast. Yep. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the last time I went to a movie. And I do remember, though, the last time I went to a movie, I don't remember what it was. I fell asleep. I don't know what happened to me. I just got old.
That's funny.
Cool.
That's it.
That's it?
Yep.
You out?
I'm out.
Sweet. Thank you, sir. I really don't have much to share. I've got a lot of things going on. Oh, here's one thing that you can do. Just a little ask, if you will. We've got the holidays coming up, and we've got the Dialed Cycling Lab, right? That's kind of a little thing that we do on the side here. And we're going to be sending out some pretty cool emails here pretty soon. If you're interested in getting an email from us that has maybe some discount codes that you can't publish out there on the interwebs because it maybe violates MAP policies, if you will, for certain providers, meaning that you can't advertise things below a certain value, but you want to get a good deal, sign up. If you go to dialedcycling.com, you can sign up to be on our newsletter, and we'll add you to that list, and you'll get the emails. And I promise you, we're not going to blast you with a bunch of crap and be an annoyance, and you're going to get 5 emails from us a day. It's just
So wait, you'll post stuff to the newsletter, and if some are people allowed to talk about the deals that are there, or is it hush deals?
No, we can talk about the deals on that. We just can't put stuff up on social media or advertise it outside here.
Can I talk about because one of the videos I'm going to do? I'm planning on probably doing a live stream on Black Friday on the morning of, and just saying look at all these interesting deals. This is fun stuff to just kind of keep an eye on, because Black Friday is a big one for tech, sports tech.
Here's a perfect example.
Am I allowed to check the email and be like, hey, here's a deal on the Phoenix?
Yeah, you can't say what the deal is, but you can say it might behoove you to go check it out and use this discount code to see what the price is. So, let's use that as an example.
Phoenix,
the Garmin's got a bunch of stuff that just went on sale.
Yeah.
The Phoenix 8 is not one of them.
Correct.
You're not allowed to sell that for less than the manufacturer's suggested retail price.
Right.
It's part of their MAP policy, which is the minimum advertised price. Mm-hmm. We have that as you can do that here in the United States. You can't do that abroad. In the UK, there's no such thing as MAP pricing because it's against the law to have that. Here in the United States, unfortunately, that's just how it works. And they both have their pros and cons. So we're not allowed to say this $1,000 watch, we're having it on sale for $800. We can't do that because Garmin will call us up and say, fix that, or you're going to lose your dealer status with us.
But you're allowed to send that email out?
Yes, because it's not advertised. It's a closed network. It's our group of people. Okay. So I can't take that same email and publish it on Facebook, for instance.
But what if I, as a complete third party independent person, was I'm reading this newsletter, and you can get a hell of a deal on the Phoenix right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not allowed to say the number though.
You can say that. I think if you said roughly what you saved, but not actually saying that they're selling it for that, as long we can't put it up on our website, but if you talk about it, that's fine.
What I bet you, I wonder if I could phrase it like this. I'm subscribed to this newsletter. You guys should subscribe to this newsletter also, because the prices that I'm seeing on the Phoenix 8 are way better on this newsletter than you would get on what I'm seeing on Amazon. Correct. Because we'll probably, my plan is to pull up Amazon and look at here's where prices are on different things.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good times.
So
should be fun.
We've
Live
got
stream.
thousands of people on that email list, and I've been so stinking busy. I just haven't been sending stuff out, but it's going to be, we're going to be sending that out here in the next week. There will be some pretty cool deals coming up. And, with Black Friday coming out,
Is the Phoenix 8 going to be one of those?
Yes.
This is a closed network podcast.
We've actually had a couple people like, hey,
That's a great watch.
You guys usually do some cool stuff, and we haven't seen anything from you. You guys going to be doing a Black Friday sale on that? And like, we're not allowed to, but try this discount code. And they're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And then next thing you see an order come through.
And I tell people like my discount code works on all of pretty much everything on this entire site, as far as I know.
So close to 2,000 products. So
I know. It's crazy.
So good times.
So teaser for next week, the Dialed podcast.
Yes, sir.
We are going to be discussing Black Friday cycling deals.
Yep.
Nice.
So
we've
that's
got a
the plan for next week.
growing list of things that we're seeing that are coming out there, and I don't know, good deals that you might want to jump on. So
Yep.
some of that stuff's already started now, so you might want to like start snooping around. Oh, use this as a perfect opportunity. Like if you find something that's a smoking killer good deal, use that text us feature on the app
tell
and
us.
send it to
I
us.
wanna
Like,
see
hey,
if
I found this.
I wonder if like Silka has anything on like chain waxing, or I mean, they're going to have some Black Friday specials, right?
Correct. I've already gotten the
They're
emails from
emailing
them.
them. Yeah.
It's,
That's
as a
great
distributor,
group.
they say, hey, all these things are going to be marked down. So it's a
option.
crazy time of year for us to keep up with that. It's like trying to drink out of a
Oh,
fire hose.
so
like
much.
you get it from
So
all of the
much.
people. It's like, oh my gosh.
I know.
Managing that, it's a bit of a chore, but it is what it is.
It is
and
what
it's
it
fun.
is.
Save some bucks. Cool. All right, we're done. See ya.
Out.
All right, thanks for listening to the podcast. We will be back next week with another one of these. And until then, bye for now.
Poo poo.
Thank you for f***ing listening.